and good evening. It's a little early tonight, but I'm here and none of the other class members are yet. So this is Pastor Lou Kilgore from the High Mountain Presbyterian Church, and we are here every Tuesday night. We're reading through the book of Psalms, and we're reading it, but we're also letting it read us. We're listening to what God was saying, leading and guiding people so many years ago, and now surprised by the relevance of it for us today. The text that we're on for tonight is Psalm 75. These are lesser known psalms because we're reading through them one after the other. But this one is subtitled in the commentary I'm using, There is a Cup in Yahweh's Hand. Commentary I'm using is written by Marvin Tate. It's part of the Word Biblical Commentary. Really enjoyed the way it's organized and the help that we kind of get in interpreting it. So you'll hear at one point we read, and then we discuss. Commentary that I'm reading on has its own translation, and then there's comment, and then there's what's called explanation. I usually familiarize myself with all of that, and then we begin the reading and discussion that is shared just among us. And sometimes the conversation is pretty interesting. I think it's very relevant. A lot of what's going on here is turmoil in the government. Questions about what does God want, and then what to do when they know that what is happening is not what God wants, and they're invading armies, taking over what they thought was, sacred land and the promised land and all the rest of it. So big questions arise about where is God, and what's God's hand in all of this? Are we being punished for being bad people? Is that how God relates to us? Anyway, that's where we're at. So there'll be a little time of silence. It's just now 7 o'clock. So the class will begin to arrive, and we'll get started probably with real good discussion in about 10 minutes. So if you want to hang out, you can, or you can fast forward because this is recorded. If you're watching and you're not watching live, if you're watching live, then you can get your Bibles out and find Psalm 75 and be ready when the time comes. You can, if you'd like to join the conversation and have your comments heard, you can email me and say, I'd like the Zoom invite, and you write to me an email at revlouie, REVLOUIE @AOL.com, and I will send you an invite. I'll send it right away, so you could join in the discussion immediately, and you don't have to feel like just a spectator unless that's what you want to be. Okay. Has anybody joined me yet? I don't think so. Oh, all right. Let's just wait a little bit. Am I in the wrong meeting? I pushed the wrong button. This. Hi, Barbara.
Hello. Where's this? What is this? What is this? This I don't need anymore.
I got a message on my phone that you had joined the meeting, but I couldn't see you yet. So I wasn't sure what the deal was, but anyway, we're here. Right now it's just you and me.
Yeah, I'm expecting Debbie to come. She was the one who questioned where was the invite, so.
All right. I did hear from Judy. She's not feeling well, so she won't be here. I mean, she usually gets here late, but she's not going to be here at all tonight. So.
That's too bad. Is stomach virus still a big thing?
Yep.
I know at Cedar Crest, a lot of people are still suffering from it.
Yep. It's there everywhere I go, in all the different worlds I move in the school.
Right.
I know there's some people here in the church that have it, and then Judy, that's what I think Judy has.
Oh, jeez.
So, I don't know. Between that and some variety or version of a cold and a flu is still just ripping through.
Yeah. There's Debbie.
Come on.
Hello.
Here she is.
Yeah. I had trouble getting on again. Took a couple of minutes, but.
There you are. Now I can see you.
Oh, you couldn't see him. Sorry.
No.
I could see myself in the little boxes, but.
Yeah.
Okay.
How are you, Debbie?
Good. As well as can be expected, I guess. I'm trying not to pay any attention to TV right now. Netanyahu and Trump are having a joint press conference with two imbeciles, so trying not to watch that.
I watched part tonight. I didn't realize I had heard about there was a concert for fire aid.
Oh.
And most of the people I don't even know, not mine recognize the names of, or know what they look like. But I thought, well, I'll watch it. And it's on YouTube. Oh. And it was interesting. Billy Joel was there. Joni Mitchell was sounding pretty sad. I'm thinking, I think you should hang up your shingle.
There's a point at which
she's still hanging in there. Mm-hmm. And then there was, I think it was Stephen Stills that was singing, but, and Billy Crystal was on, and he showed pictures of where his house was.
Hmm.
His house was ruined, and they had people, some of the people who were victims. But I read or heard something the other day that they raised $60 million. So
Wow.
at least, but it was interesting to hear a little music.
Mm-hmm.
Well, $60 million, that'll rebuild 2 of the houses.
Exactly.
Well, that's it.
I think mainly for clothing, emergency stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
clothing.
Well, not everyone was Billy Crystal.
Right. Exactly.
There was a family on, and it was a mother and 3 daughters, I think it was. And the one daughter said that they had 3 houses that were destroyed completely. So,
Like 3 of their own houses?
yes,
Oh.
yes.
Oh.
Yeah, they all lived in, I can't remember whether it was Altadena. Is that it? I think it was Altadena, but it was interesting to hear the music and also to know that there were people who were doing something to help others.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Fire Aid. If you want to hear a little music.
Okay. And it's on YouTube, you said?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I'll go there. Maybe I'll put that
I
on.
think it's about 4 hours. So I was listening while I was trying to do some paperwork online that wasn't too taxing, but or actually was for my taxes.
Was it outside?
It was the Kia Stadium
Oh, okay.
in California, and he mentioned that I think someone was going to match the first $1 million, but of course I had no idea who the person was.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it was the Kia guy or someone else, but.
Well, some help anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I had the sisters cooking class today. It was a pleasant day. We made some really nice things to eat, and we all sat and were enjoying conversation, and nobody wants to talk about the obvious. So, but finally there was one lady that was there from Nablus and in the West Bank. She had come over, she was unable to get to her home, and then her family brought her out for a visit anyway, and then she's worried about, will she be able to go back? She was elderly too.
Yeah.
And she said and then the conversation started. And I don't understand that much Arabic, but I could understand some of it. So somebody was translating for me. Now, the Netanyahu government is allowing Israelis to supposedly buy property in the West Bank. They're going to take it over and make settlements, more illegal settlements, but they also now, they don't even have to have a reason to break into your home. What they're searching for, they never tell you. So she said they were broken into, and while they have you all in the family, all in one room, they go through the house, the rest of the house, and steal money, jewelry. They took food from her home, put everything in one pot, like all the flour, all the, oil, everything. So it ruined all the food, so they couldn't use the food. They're trying to thrust people into poverty, so they have nowhere to go, no means of taking
They want you to give up.
They want you to leave, which is what I think Trump just said. His Middle East plan for peace is that every Palestinian leave Palestine.
Right.
That's the plan for peace.
Yeah.
So but we continued to eat after that, and everybody, I don't know, I don't understand how they stay smiling after all of that. And it's not just now, it's been going on for years.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And this lady was really old. She was not young. Oh, I don't know. What can you do? So when I feel really bad about what's happening here, I think, oh, please, it could be
Right.
worse. It could be worse. Have some gratitude, smile, and enjoy the day. What else can you do?
Yeah.
Listen to some music, right?
Right. That's what I try. And go have some good lunch. I sent
I saw
Debbie a
your
picture of that. There's a restaurant on the water. It's on a estuary or whatever, bay or something. But it's up, raised up, and they don't take reservations, and at night it's like an hour and a half wait. But I realized that they're open for lunch. And they have this champachanga or something like that. It's what it is. It's like gazpacho, but with shrimp in it, and it is delicious. I'm sure it's 3 meals for me. I brought most of it home, but it's all an open air kind of place. It's only has about 15 tables if it has that. But it was just such a nice day to, with had a roof over it. So, but it
looked beautiful.
Yeah. And then I really treated myself and went to Culver's and an ice cream, which then my blood sugar was through the roof.
Right up, yeah.
So it must be warm. It must be warm there.
It's 80 something, 82, I think.
Oh,
yep.
Man. Yep. I mean, look, I'm envious of the food in the restaurant and the ice cream, but mostly I'm envious of the warmth. Wow.
Wasn't that bad today? It's just windy. It was windy.
I listened to NPR in New York this morning, and they were talking about it was going down during the day. Yeah. It started out at 40, and it was going down to the 30s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think tonight it's going to be in the 20s again.
Yeah. And it's supposed to snow or snow and then turn to ice on Thursday.
Good. Good. That means we have the snow removal company come again. An ice, a salt coating for us is $400.
Wow.
So when they come and it has to be done. You can't have it, but it's $400. And we've had so many winters where we've spent nothing.
Right.
Just feel so happy those winters. And I knew it was going to change, and it hasn't been awful, but we've had a lot of small snows that require, same equipment, almost the same amount of time. So.
Yeah, the plows were out yesterday.
Yeah.
They plowed.
Yep. So, I don't know. I was thinking, Barbara, when you were talking about, Debbie, when you're describing, people relating, what in my mind, it's hard for me to think about, the military breaks into your house and goes through and takes everything you own and then destroys the food that you have. And I don't know, I'm still a philosopher, I'm still, an ethicist, and what is it, and this sounds like a language that would come right from the book of the Psalms, but what is it that gets into the hearts of human beings?
No heart.
That's what the ladies were saying today. That part I understood, Calby. No, there's no heart. Right. That's what they were saying. They have no sympathy, no heart. But as far as we know, the news that comes to us is there's a ceasefire in Gaza.
Right.
So everything's fine. Right. But instead, they're bombing in the West Bank. Right. So, it's not this is where I fault the news that gets to Americans. It really is one-sided. I feel a load of sympathy for every Israeli that suffers as well, of course. But they completely ignore, the other side. And unfortunately, it it tends to make people go, well, our side suffered this much. Well, our side suffered,
Right.
instead of trying to get people together and to, Netanyahu is a criminal, and he's out there now talking on the TV with another criminal.
Yeah.
So, what can we do? And the regular people suffer.
Exactly.
That's the frustrating part of it.
Absolutely. And I think I'm frustrated when the news, there's so little news of any international, we're talking even about Rubio going to Central America. The only thing we ever hear about Central America are the immigrants, but we don't hear anything about what's going on or in the African countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't know anything about Africa.
I've been watching this Netflix Churchill at War. That's very good. It's based on his books, and some of it are actual films of he and others during that time, and some are recreations. But they were mentioning, which I never realized, that there were only two countries in Africa that stayed independent and weren't colonies of European countries. And it was Ethiopia and Libya. And, they mentioned that at one time Italy was trying to take over Ethiopia.
Took over it, yeah. Right.
But, I realized, and what is there now? 70, I think there's 72 countries in Africa. To think of, all of it having been colonized.
Yeah, and the world, the world is big. It's small in some ways, but the world is big. So it's so hard to try to be informed about the events of the world. I mean, oh my goodness, what is an event? And how does it figure in? I think the problem, I go back to use Brueggemann's word he uses all the time, and that is empire. And,
right.
And the United States is an empire. It is.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And citizens benefit from the experience of what the empire accomplishes. And when you get outside the reach of the empire, you get a different impression of who the empire is and how does it function in the world. I mean,
and it's looking at those countries as what can they do for us? Right. How can we profit from these people? How can we hoodwink them?
Exactly. And the little bit we send back in the form of U.S. aid now is, we
right.
can't do that.
Right.
Less than 1% of our GDP. That's way too much. We can't do that. Oh. Okay. Where is everybody? Everybody's too depressed, maybe? Melinda looks like
she's here. Hi, Melinda.
Hello.
Hello.
Melinda didn't make her landing, so she's shuffling right now.
You're in the
I'm
car.
home, but I just got home. No, I just got home.
Oh, good.
I'm trying to settle.
Well, that's okay. I'm glad you made it home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, let's read. I think I'm going to say this ahead of time, but I'm convinced more and more that the Psalms, all of them, are written for and among people who are just like us. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to figure out what's going on. We're trying to figure out what does it mean to believe in and follow a just and loving God who created the world and who we believe didn't just create it and run off like the deists think, but who lives with the world and walks with the world. And regardless of what mode you think God is with us, whether you think God lives in us or whether God is, in our community or wherever, but what is going on? That's the question the psalmist keeps asking. What is going on? And sometimes, where is God? And what is God doing in the world? And so we can ask those same questions today. I think we can ask him with the same intensity. And maybe human beings who are awake or alert or learning have always been able to struggle with this. You know, when has the world not been a place where persecution happens and where powerful people take over and exercise, you know, terrible things? When has that not been happening in the world? I guess if you look away, you don't have to look at those parts of the world where it's happening, and then you can think, oh, it's okay, it's fine. But I don't know.
Not my problem. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
not
not my
my
problem.
problem.
See no evil, right? Hear no evil.
Right.
It's not here. The world's a wonderful place. And it is. But it's also a lot of other things, too. All right, so who's going to read? There is a cup in
I'll
Yahweh's
read.
hand. Psalm
read.
75.
75?
I think so.
Oh,
Oh,
Is that not right?
I don't know.
sorry.
Yeah, I have the
I'm on
marks.
Jeremiah. I'm really doing well.
I have the marks from the discussion that took place of 74.
Okay, so
I think 75 is it.
this is it.
I
Okay.
think we're on
Okay.
75 as well.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks. Your name is near. People tell of your wondrous deeds. At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity. When the earth totters with all its inhabitants, it is I who keep its pillars steady. I say to the boastful, do not boast, and to the wicked, do not lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, or speak with insolent neck. Not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up, but it is God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup with foaming wine well mixed. He will pour a draught from it, and all the wicked of the earth shall drain it down to the dregs. But I will rejoice forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted.
Horns.
What?
I'm thinking horn like a musical horn, but that's not what he's talking about. It's
No, it's the horn that carries oil and carries
Wine or
wine. Yeah, wine. But, you know, I think lifting up the horn is a metaphor for, I don't know, claiming like bragging rights and, you know, and arrogance. And so those that are arrogant are going to find out that their success or whatever has not come to them because of what they've done. And they will be brought low. The proud will be brought low, and the low will be lifted up. This is a repetitive theme for the people who, you know, do the speaking and the proffering for God. This is what God has to say about this struggling world. And that idea about the cup, that God holds a cup and there's the wine that's in it foams, and the arrogant and the evil people will drink from the wine, and they will drink it all, and basically it's bad wine. It's not going to go well for you because you have taken advantage of people and you've used your position to, I don't know, build up your own self.
And I guess verse 6, for not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up.
Right.
Is that a reference to kingdoms to the east, kingdoms to the west that they've made alliances with?
I think that's exactly
Yes.
what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, that the power for raising up the people and for taking care of them is from God. It's, yeah, you can't,
Did you start before 7:30?
what did you say?
Did you start before 7:30?
Yes, we started at 7 o'clock, my dear.
Aw,
You're kidding.
No. At 7:30 is the summertime start.
Oh, because that's what it says on my, you know.
does it?
You have an old invite. You have an invite from the summer?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
That's okay.
What psalm did you read?
We read Psalm
70.
75.
75. Okay, I can read it later.
Well, or we could read it again.
If it's very short.
I'm looking at the invitation that I forwarded. It doesn't have the time on it. I left it off. Tuesday evening Bible
okay.
study. Yep. So I'll go back and add the time on it, but yeah, so God, I mean,
It was a short one. Do you want me to read it again, Colette?
Okay,
yeah, that's good.
It's short.
It is. It's only 11 verses.
okay.
Okay. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks. Your name is near. People tell of your wondrous deeds. At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity. When the earth totters with all its inhabitants, it is I who will keep its pillars steady. I say to the boastful, do not boast, and to the wicked, do not lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high or speak with insolent neck. For not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up, but it is God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup with foaming wine well mixed. He will pour out a draught from it, and all the wicked of the earth shall drain it down to the dregs. But I will rejoice forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be exalted.
Do you think that hidden in these Psalms is a call to complete pacifism? I mean, there's declarations all through the lines of psalm after psalm after psalm that says, the earth is the Lord's, the pillars underneath the earth belong to God, and God will deal justly and rightfully with the wicked, and God will lift up the downtrodden. And I don't know, it's just beginning to appear to me that we talk a lot about, well, you know, we got to do what we can do. I don't hear that in here. I don't hear, you know, go out and challenge the wicked or even speak to the wicked. It's like God's going to do it. Trust in God. God will take care of this. The earth is the Lord's, and everything that is in it belongs to God. And so I don't know, as you were reading it for the second time, I sort of imagined, you know, in the Amish school, where the Amish are, you know, they're trained over and over again. You do not resist. There's no warring ability. There's no, you just live your life and let God take care of it. And I don't know, maybe that's a false explanation of pacifism, but it just feels to me like every psalm comes back and says God will deal with the wicked, and you just have to wait until in God's time, and God will lift up those who are righteous and trying to live their lives. God will lift them up. I don't know, is that...
I think I kind of admire most people who are not going to lift a hand in anger, but will still do something, will find a way, shame the aggressor, the way that Martin Luther King did, we'll march, and we'll march peacefully. We will not lift our hand against these criminals that are out to get us, but we'll be there. We're not going to stay home and take it. We're going to be out in the street. But when they beat us, everyone will see that. And eventually they'll be shamed. I think Gandhi did the same thing with the Salt March.
Right.
It's shaming the powerful into submission instead of beating them. Let them beat you, and then let's see what happens. I think, maybe even Jesus had a certain amount of resistance to the evil, but he also would not lift a hand. And I think those two men studied the way of Jesus, a third way, something between complete submission and don't say a word or do anything, and go to war. There's that middle ground between, which has to be terribly hard to do. If somebody is being violent against you, it's real hard to stand there and take it, but you do. You get out there and you let them see what's happening. I think that's not always effective, I guess, but it has been.
Gandhi and Martin Luther's approach was called active nonviolence.
Right, that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, it's active nonviolence, but the active part is not a violent action.
Right.
It can be confrontational. It can be, like Martin Luther and the guy standing on the bridge and saying, we're coming across, we're going to come across, and we're going to vote unless you beat us into the ground. And so they did.
Right. And Gandhi with the Salt March, they were told they could not come out, and they were in violation of all these laws that the British put, and it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger until all these people, this giant force, not being violent, but just, not obeying the law either. And
not complying. They were not
Right.
in compliance. They refused to be in compliance. I had
so is that the way God would prefer? What is the psalmist?
I don't know. I don't hear a lot of that nuance in the Psalms. Like I said, what I hear, and maybe I'm not listening, is I hear, don't worry about it, God will take care of it. And God will lift up the righteous and push down the oppressors. The evil ones will lose, and goodness will prevail. And so don't lose faith. Be good. Continue in your righteousness. Continue to live. Now, of course, if you're living according to the mission of God in the world, then you are actively out there blessing, being involved in sharing the blessing, providing the blessing of God. It's not sitting around doing nothing.
Right.
But in terms of how to fix, I had some of this, I just tell you because it's banging around in my skull. I had a conversation with a woman yesterday, early in the day, and it was the most frustrating conversation I've had in a very long time. And it was, the point this woman was taking, or the position she was taking is, I don't worry about it. She wasn't necessarily pro-political of one side. She was critical of both sides of the politics. And basically her point was, we all just need to come into the middle and just sort of, just kind of learn to get along. And it came down to, issues like, I talked about how as a male, as a pastor, I am assertive on some issues. I won't just say, let's just try to all get along. I don't accept that. I can't accept that. And I talked about the fact that, I have daughters, and I have been, from the time I was a young dad, I have been thinking about what is the experience for my daughters in the world. And I've struggled almost like a feminist to say, I'm not going to let my daughters take up second-class citizenship. And she was like, oh, you think too much. You know, it's like,
Oh, okay.
she just dismissed it all. She just, it was like, everything is much better than you think it is. You know, it's not so
For
bad.
her.
Yeah.
Now that one of those, and then they came for me.
I know, and while I was in my head, I was thinking about those images of people who say, you don't know whose shoulders you're standing on. You have benefited, and I tried to say, do you understand the change? And I said something like, it wasn't that long ago that women were not allowed to vote, and her response was, oh well, that wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. I wonder what her great grandmother or her great great grandmother would think, but
Well, I mean, they may have been some of those women that were on the side of, like, telling the suffragettes to be quiet, and say, look, you're wrecking our lives. Leave us alone. We have a good life.
or they could have been scrubbing somebody's floor, but she doesn't know.
No,
So
that's right.
whatever.
Right.
Oh,
Someone had sent me a prayer from Mother Teresa, and I keep trying to read it. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you're honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow. Do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give your best anyway. For you see, in the end, it's between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway.
mm-hmm.
How could anyone be that wise?
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Well, and I think that is what the psalmist says. I mean, that's the psalmist's, he says, be, somewhere in there, it's like, don't be that evil person. Do not lift your horn on high, do not speak with an insolent neck, but instead, trust in God. I don't know. We give thanks to you, O God, to your dear name, and we know that you are near and your wondrous deeds declare it. There's a kind of a falling into the arms of God. And in the poem that you read, or there's an action that's like, be kind, be generous, be happy. These are things that, what do they say? Be happy. It makes the world wonder what you're up to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This also says about the equity, which is a word I don't remember seeing before in the Psalms.
Which part is that?
It's verse 2. At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity.
Right. I will indeed judge with equity.
I will judge with equity.
And when the earth is shaking because of it, God is coming to judge. I'm the one that holds the pillars on which the earth stands. That I got this. So, if we could live into a life, I'll say this to myself, to live into a life that remembers that God is active, watching the timing of things and watching what's going on. We don't need to live as if the world is out of control, even if it feels that way. We don't.
It does.
We can, because of our faith, trust what you can't yet see. And then live into that, not sit around and just take it for granted, but live into it. And I think that's, again, what the poem invites us to do, is to say, add something positive. I am not good at what's happening. I'm not good at being that in the world that we're living in right now. Because I knew the Vietnam War was going on, but it wasn't being fought in my backyard. My brothers were over there, but they were on an Air Force base and they were not in any active duty. I knew there were bodies coming home in body bags all over the place, but it wasn't my family. So I really haven't lived in a time of such, chaos and destruction of the structures that are in place. And they're only beginning to take them apart. Life after is yet to be seen, what it's going to be like. What will this new world be like? And how far will it go? I was listening to NPR Talk Radio today, and this guy, Kristen Gillibrand, was on there, and they were interviewing her about, the position she's taking. And,
I heard it, yeah.
And she kept saying, well, we're 2 years, we're going to have an election, and so on. And did you hear the guy that called in and said, "You're crazy. You keep thinking there's going to be an election in 2 years, and I'm telling you, there's not going to be.
Yeah.
They're taking down the
Happen in
structure."
2 years.
You're what?
And what can happen in 2 years?
Yeah.
You can't. The court's by and by.
I was surprised. She caught some heat from a couple of people. There was another guy who called in and said, how dare she vote for any of these nominations? And she did vote for one. I forget. Oh, the guy who was the planner of the 2025 plan, the guy who's in charge of Treasury. She voted for him. And then the guy went on to say, and also you are the person who helped to get rid of, what's his name from, the comedian who was a wonderful senator, he said, and you got rid of him. Al Franken. Well, she did get a little, she pushed back a little on that, but there were you can hear the frustration in the callers, because ordinarily Kirsten Gillibrand is treated with kid gloves on NPR, and there were some unhappy people today.
Yeah, and I think I can go to sleep at night and I think about some of the personalities and people that I've heard over the years through the impeachment trials and stuff, and the wisdom and the stature of some of these statespeople, women and men, and yet there's a game being played that nobody knows the rules to. And they're going around they're going around the goalposts. They're not shooting, they're not going for the end zone.
Right.
They're playing on the field the other way. They're playing from sideline to sideline. And it's a feeling, I'm willing to admit, it's a feeling, and I'm not listening to much of the news per se. I'm not. I pick up a story, I have my phone, and on my phone, stories pop up, and I can't resist to read them. I read them, and I don't know how true they are. Some of them seem sensationalists. Seems like they're just trying to, say, the sky is falling, and I don't know if it is or if it isn't. I don't know. It could be, but I don't know. And then all the clamor and chatter over the last couple of weeks about, Trump was going to inflict tariffs on Canada and on Mexico, and the sky was going to fall there. And then I heard the two articles were put together of Trudeau and the president of Mexico, who said, you know what, we talked with this guy, and we basically explained to him that the things he was laying down as the ultimatums, we're already doing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It was all show, because Trump kept saying, the The NAFTA plans that we have that are, in place now are the worst there ever was. They're so horrible, the worst in the history of the world. And people had to keep reminding him, they are your
Right,
NAFTA
you
rules.
negotiated.
You're the one.
And so
And then-
it's like,
And all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, all right. Well, we won't do that." But he did. I understand he is putting tariffs on China, and China's not having any of it. They're slapping tariffs on us too. So I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know what his problem is, besides, being an egomaniac and an imbecile. That's bad enough. It's just like,
yeah,
why?
he blows up these big balloons, and the press pick up on it as, oh, it's the end of the world, and turns out he has no mechanism to institute them. He has nothing. And one of the issues, the president of Mexico, she said, he's going around championing the fact that he got a concession from me to put 10,000 soldiers on the Mexican border. And then she said, he didn't know that before the negotiations ever took place, we already had 20,000 soldiers on the border.
Right. So we'll take some away.
And it's like, what is it? He's just got to go out there and bloviate
Yeah.
and make as if he's going to be the emperor of the world. And
Well, you're too young, both of you are too young to remember Howdy Doody. But there was
Oh, I know Howdy Doody.
character-
I was in the peanut gallery there. There you go.
Phineas T. Bluster.
Yes. Yep.
That's what we have.
what did
Wasn't
Howdy
he the
Doody-
mayor?
What did Howdy Doody do? What's the connection?
There was a character on it, was called Phineas T. Bluster.
Oh,
I believe he was the mayor. Yeah.
Phineas Bluster.
it is,
Full of himself. Yeah.
it is a lot of bluster.
Yep.
is. It is. And yet what, am I just reassuring myself with false
Right.
comfort? I don't know.
Right?
I don't know.
Well, I feel safe, but I'm thinking of all the other people who
Yeah.
are in the line of fire
That's right.
and are frightened. They should probably be in the emergency room right now, but they're afraid to go to the emergency room, that they'll be arrested or whatever. But, these are
No.
people's lives.
Well, the people who are going to lose their jobs just because he doesn't like one department or a different,
Right?
what in the world? It's Howdy Doody time. It's Howdy Doody. I remember Howdy Doody. Come on.
I know that song. I've heard
Of course.
that,
Oh. Yeah, I liked Princess Ticklefeather.
How about Princess Summer, Fall,
Winter, summer, fall, winter, spring, or whatever the heck her name was. Yeah.
and Clarabelle the Clown.
Anyway, it seems sometimes that the whole crew from Howdy Doody is in charge now.
Right.
It's like, and don't leave out Bozo too. I mean, every day when he makes more suggestions for people in places where you need people with competence, it's like, can you pick anybody who's worse? The one thing that was really upsetting was that there was nobody in charge of the FAA when all these air mishaps happened. It could just be that it was a coincidence, bad timing, but and I don't think they realized there was no appointment at the FAA, that the fellow who had that position resigned because of a verbal tussle with Elon Musk.
Yeah, I you know what? I think that darn it, I don't know, I had something I was going to say, and then in the background behind me, a guy looking for the AA group came to the door, so I lost my train of thought. But there's just so much.
Right.
I know, the FAA, I think there's a stupidity. I'm sorry, it sounds judgmental. There's a stupidity of the populace to know how valuable the bureaucracy is.
Right.
They don't, like, really, if you get rid of the meat inspectors, and okay, you don't like them because they're there and they're taking, but you get rid of the meat inspectors, we're all gonna be getting sick from meat. We are. And it's this whole thing with Kennedy, the least likely person in the world to be monitoring the health concerns of the people.
Oh, amen.
I mean, did they confirm him? Is it done?
No, they passed him, he got passed through the committee today, though. He made it through the committee. I can't think of the senator's name, who was a doctor, who had a lot of doubts.
Louisiana, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said, okay, he's going to confirm him. So now he gets passed through the committee and he has to go in front of the entire House? Senate.
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 Senate, yeah.
So, I'm sure they'll confirm him. I don't know, unless you can find some other people who have a brain. And I understand that Tulsi Gabbard got through too. So, and then if you have Elon Musk and his crew, they said they're working round the clock. They have set up cots inside their workspace and they're not going home. They're going to work on this till they get rid of government excess.
Yeah.
$3 trillion.
So,
I did see something which I was thinking of today too, that I have a very good way of finding the money, and that's to tax the people that are not paying taxes.
like Elon Musk, Tesla
I
pays
hire more
zero.
people, which they wouldn't do.
Yeah, like Donald Trump. Invite him to pay some taxes.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Really.
Now that they can see all of our tax returns and our Social Security and all our medical records, then maybe we should finally get to see Donald Trump's tax returns. And how about Tesla? Tesla pays zero taxes, I understand.
And now Elon Musk is using his position to reduce regulations on Tesla, to dismiss court cases against them for their auto drive program. He's there. He can flick his finger and get rid of annoying court cases, just like Donald Trump has always wanted to do.
Exactly.
He's
Yeah.
he's prosecuting the prosecutors who brought charges against him.
Right.
I
It's a
mean,
retribution.
The world is gone. Our world has gone crazy, but
Upside down.
But it is the craziness, and I hate to sound like an extremist because I can get there. It's the craziness that took place 80 days before Adolf Hitler finally declared that he was in charge of Germany.
Right.
It's exactly the same kind of dismantling that took place. And I'm not saying that these people have the same values that Hitler had, but they believe that they should be in charge.
And that's always scary.
Yeah.
It's always scary. And they're doing it, they're actually pretty good at getting to where they want to be because they're already getting rid of reliable sources of information.
Yep.
So that's the first thing. They'll be closing down any newspapers or television broadcasters that they don't care for. Last night, Rachel Maddow said, I'm not going anywhere. They want to close things down, but I'm going to keep talking in their face. And you know what? There are certain publications that are continuing to do that. But then there are others that have been paying the fines and kowtowing and backing down. And that to me is really scary because once you don't have information,
Yeah.
lost. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I think tonight the psalm was cheerier than the conversation.
Hard to get into a cheery mood, that's for sure.
Yeah.
My index finger is getting so tired of hitting the for a petition, and then I can never remember. Didn't I just sign that one yesterday?
I know.
Well, my inbox is full of all of your forwards.
Uh-oh.
I don't send you any petitions.
Yeah.
I send you happy news. I send you the Emily and Smile, and she sends, don't
you
blame
sent-
me for that.
But you sent me some petitions because I've gone on them and I've followed up and I
No, I
love
sent
you
you
too.
the solidarity thing.
Yeah, I'm
You
doing my
signed
part.
for.
Doing my part. I promise I am. I'm trying.
I like the carry water, chop wood.
Yes.
Those are good.
Jessica Craven. She's on a program with Robert Hubble. I'd never heard of him. Barbara Dunn's sister-in-law had put me onto him, and that's how I've gotten onto the Jessica Craven and whatever. But he's very good. He has a sane mind or whatever. But I like the Emily Smile. At least she comes up with all the good things that are happening. And there are some good things.
Yeah, it's funny. I observe myself in that, right? So I start to read the Emily Smile thing, and there's
Right.
one good thing after another, right? And I'm reading it, and then I'm like, oh crap! I can't stand this good news.
Here's some bad stuff.
I can't do this. This is getting me down.
Oh, gosh.
But I am glad that Move On and some of the other groups now that people are going to every one of the senators'
Yeah.
offices all over the country. They're doing Andy Kim's in Jersey City tomorrow, or today, I think they did. And they're doing Cory Booker's tomorrow.
In
But
Newark, Cory.
It's countrywide.
Yeah.
Right.
That they're going to the offices.
There's each state too. People are gathering at state houses in each state. I think that's Thursday though, and it's supposed to snow, so I don't. Yeah. Wasn't Cory Booker tomorrow?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's one at 10 and there's one at 12, different groups. So it's the 11th district is at 12 o'clock. I don't know what district that is. I don't know what district I'm in.
5th, aren't you?
What are you talking about?
There's a group called Move On, and then there are a couple of other groups. And online, they're talking about inviting people to go to the offices today and tomorrow, I think, are most of them, the offices of all the senators in their home offices, not to go to DC, but Cory Booker's in Newark and Andy Kim is in Jersey City, but all over the country, they're saying, show up and say, you've got to start doing something.
Oh, I like Cory Booker.
Yeah, but he also has to show that people want something to be done.
We're not going to sit back. Yesterday, Andy Kim showed up at USAID with a lot of other legislators, and he said his first job in government was for USAID.
Really?
So he had So he said he felt very strongly about it, and he spoke out about it. But there were a lot of Congress people and senators in front of the USAID offices in DC.
But it's not only to tell them the message, but to get the message out that there are people concerned about what's going on.
Indeed.
No, I can't go.
I'm not expecting you to, but it's good to hear that there are people doing it.
Oh,
Colette, did you say you can't go?
I can't talk.
You're just making up excuses now.
Oh, come on. Don't make her feel bad. She can always sign a petition online.
Yeah.
There you go.
The petition, and I'll sign it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want me to send you my petition? I get about 5 a day.
Well,
Many.
yeah, but I want to know what I'm signing a petition for.
Right, no, they explain it, whether it's to tell the courts that they should do this, or tell the Senate that they shouldn't accept these people that are being promoted. It's to tell, saying that you're protesting Elon Musk getting his nose into our business, et cetera, et cetera.
That's scary. Did you hear the folks that are working for Musk? One of them's 19 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a group of young
Just,
guys.
I thought I heard 14 to 19.
Yep. It's just a
God.
group of young
But
guys.
maybe,
are around
you know,
him. Yep.
but
And who knows? Because it's an unelected intrusion. You know, there's no, you know, the principle of leaders being elected and being held accountable is completely sidelined. This is
Absolutely.
none of
Don't
that.
they keep telling you, don't disclose your social security number. Don't disclose your private, oh, there's HIPAA laws. Oh, there's this, that, and the other thing. Make sure you never disclose that.
Yeah,
And
well,
here we're letting
much
all
for
and
that.
sundry look at all these important things.
so much for that.
Yeah, exactly. So who's going to engage those companies that say they'll keep all your info safe?
Yeah.
They're out of business. 'Cause, you know. Oh, anyway.
Let's, we're getting near the end of our time, but let's read the next psalm. The next Psalm 76 is the mighty God of judgment.
The mighty God of
Mighty God of
judgment.
judgment. So, somebody want to read that? It's only 13 verses, another short one, but maybe we'll find something, you know, like Debbie said, Psalm was more optimistic than we were tonight.
Yes.
So, somebody want to read?
I'll read.
Okay.
In Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. His abode has been established in Salem, his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the flashing arrows, the shield, the sword, and the weapons of war. Glorious are you, more majestic than the everlasting mountains. The stout-hearted were stripped of their spoil. They sank into sleep. None of the troops was able to lift a hand. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both rider and horse lay stunned. But you indeed are awesome. Who can stand before you when once your anger is roused? From the heavens you uttered judgment. The earth feared and was still. When God rose up to establish judgment, to save all the oppressed of the earth. Human wrath serves only to praise you. When you bind the last bit of your wrath around you, make vows to the Lord your God and perform them. Let all who are around him bring gifts to the one who is awesome, who cuts off the spirit of princes, who inspires fear in the kings of the earth.
God is in control.
Somebody should tell Trump.
In Jerusalem,
Well,
the temple
there's a warning for somebody
Lord
like Trump.
resides.
He wants
I
to be
think-
God.
I think Bishop Buddha tried that, but
Yes.
it didn't work.
Well, I don't know if it didn't work. What was interesting was he heard it, and you know he heard it because he reacted to it so powerfully. They all heard it. They heard it. They didn't know what to do, and they reacted by saying, "Let's get her out of here." Right?
Yeah, she's nasty.
Right. They didn't have any rebuttal. They had no ideas to counteract what she was saying, and how could they? It's the wisdom of ages. All she did was give it, expression.
Yep. Yeah.
This is again the Asaph. And it says, my notes says, what is the spiritual meaning of the Asaph? The Asaph who had charge of the song services in the temple worship represents the gathering together, collector, gatherer, assembler, of the thoughts and forces of man through his concentrating in I am, the spiritual center and true directive power, thus establishing harmony and all the healing, rejoicing, uplifting.
And that's
So-
the leader? Is that what you're saying? This is...
Yeah, a Hebrew name that means collector, convener, or who gathers together. Because this one, again, there's several of them. It says Psalm of Asaph, a song. And this, that's what my Bible shows. And it's that the Asaph had the charge of the song services.
Well, you know what? Sometimes, let's see if I can figure out how to say what I'm thinking. Sometimes the singing can express an idea that moves in deep into the heart and echoes around that the words that you want to speak cannot find. This is true with a lot of spirituals, that you can't, it's inexpressible in just spoken words. But in the songs, it's clear, and it ministers to you. It lifts you up. It builds confidence and strength in you that even just your own self-talk could never do, because words fail you. So I think there's some of that here behind this idea that, this is a psalm which says, the warriors are at hand, but they fall.
Right.
You cannot stand against God, the God of justice and the God of love and the God of care. You cannot extinguish it. You cannot. There are times it will be weak and it will be, appear that it has no strength, but it has the support and the encouragement of the God who made the world. It's a moral universe. You want to fight it? Start by fighting gravity. All right, see, that brought us around the bend,
Yeah.
right?
Better than the news.
Yep. All right, my friends, I'll see you next week. I did get a text message. I got a text message from Judy saying, she's missing being here, but she must really be sick. So she's, I told her, feel better. We'll catch her next week. So, all right. Thank you.
No Wednesday?
Yes, I'll be here Wednesday. I'll be here tomorrow morning.
10 a.m.
See you next
10
week.
a.m.
I thought
tomorrow morning. Yep. Okay. Good night, all.
Good night.
Good
Good night.